We're coming to you live from our headquarters in Auckland Park. This is Prime News on SABC 3. Here are the top stories making headlines this evening.
Honorable Ntuli remains the Premier. The House is adjourned.
Premier Ntuli has lived to see another day as the political head of KwaZulu-Natal after a chaotic motion of no confidence in the KZN legislature.
To litigate over an interim report while the entire exercise is still underway will really be frivolous and time-wasting, to be honest.
The presidency of South Africa, seemingly in a bid to ease speculation, has clarified that the final report of the Madlanga Commission will be made public.
I repeat, I never wanted to make a racist or sexist comment.
And after last week's drama following utterances by Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Bruce, not all seems well in the South African camp. At the back of those headlines, it has just gone 8 o'clock Central African time. This is Prime News on 3, and my name is Paulette Nell. Thank you so much for joining us as we go through the day's developments, beginning first with this leading story. Premier Ntuli has lived to see another day as the political head of KwaZulu-Natal after a chaotic motion of no confidence in the KZN legislature. The motion was sponsored by the official provincial opposition, the Umkhonto weSizwe party, and supported by the EFF. The MK party said its no confidence motion was motivated by Ntuli's misuse of taxpayers' monies following his recent trip to New York. His poor leadership of the province, the worsening state of joblessness among the youth, and failure to prioritize the infrastructure budget. Ntuli of the Inkatha Freedom Party was sworn in as the 10th Premier of KZN in June 2024 and is the leader of the multi-party government of provincial unity.
Madam Speaker, the voting results are as follows: 30 members against the motion. No other votes recorded. Thank you.
Ntuli says he was not perturbed about the motion of no confidence brought against him by the Umkhonto weSizwe party. In his reaction to the chaotic scene in the KZN legislature, where Speaker Nontembeko Boys and some presidium members were threatened and pushed around, the Premier warned the electorate to be careful of questionable MKP characters masquerading as councillors.
It was not a new thing. It was absolutely creating chaos. What is unfortunate, what is painful, is what I saw, the GBV at its highest level. When the speaker was physically attacked, when he was saying we are just consolidating for the 365 activism against gender-based violence. But we saw it happening today. And people of KwaZulu-Natal, they must now know the MKP and EFF that they were making expectations that they can do something, and they are failing the people of KwaZulu-Natal. The chaos which was brought to the House, people who voted for parties, they think as honorable members, we are supposed to work for the people. We are supposed to ensure that we discuss policies that will change the lives of the people, not to fight for positions and powers, not in fact to create kind of the chaos which was there.
The presidency of South Africa, seemingly in a bid to ease speculation, has clarified that the final report of the Madlanga Commission will be made public. The interim report that is expected to be handed over by Wednesday, however, will not be made public.
The presidency has sought to clarify that the final report of the Madlanga Commission will be public. This after news that the interim report would not be released to the public set off speculation and discourse over transparency.
The final report will be released to the public. The Commission will advise the President on areas that are of national security sensitivity and how those areas will need to be managed, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it.
The presidency has sought to further provide a justification for its decision to not make the interim report public.
The reasoning is quite simple to understand. Some of the witnesses that have come before the commission are going to be called back again to continue with their evidence. Some had evidence located in certain specific areas, but not as broad as it was meant to be. So those witnesses are still going to be given a chance to return to the commission and give that evidence. So it's not going to be helpful to then start chewing and debating on something that's half-baked.
This justification is made in the wake of a possibility that such a decision could be challenged legally.
To litigate over an interim report while the entire exercise is still underway will really be frivolous and time-wasting, to be honest.
The interim report is expected to be handed in by the 17th of December 2025. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Pretoria.
To this now, Gauteng law enforcement is warning motorists and passengers to behave this festive season or face the full might of the law. Thousands of holidaymakers are already leaving the province for family visits and vacations. Police have set up roadblocks at the Hoek Toll Plaza in Heidelberg and other busy highways to enforce road safety rules.
Managed to arrest 39 undocumented. We managed to arrest 19 drunken drivers. 7 for drugs, and the detectives in this area made a pre-arrest an operation. They made 246 arrests, of which 33 of them were gender-based violence arrests. That is good. And at this roadblock, 2 minibus taxis were discontinued for being unroadworthy, for being moving coffins to our people who are their clients.
Having lost from the 1st of December until 13th of December, 87 people lost their lives on our road. And remember, we are still not yet into the Christmas days or your 31st of December. It's a worrisome number. I must highlight the fact that out of the 87 people who lost their lives, 39 were pedestrians.
After the break, proceedings at the Nkabinde inquiry have been halted until January. This and more coming up just after the break. Welcome back. To this now, proceedings at the Nkabinde inquiry in Pretoria have been halted until January. The inquiry, set to run until Friday, ended almost abruptly after National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Shamila Batohi, asked to step away from cross-examination by Advocate Tembegang Gaitobi, pending urgent legal advice. The inquiry is probing suspended South Gauteng Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Andrew Chauke's fitness to hold office.
It's 359 because it has a lot of expletives, but you would agree that it contains more abusive language from Major General Boyson directed at Mr. Danikas.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. Now, could you then explain yourself why a witness who is being threatened and intimidated and abused has reported it to you personally, you have not taken action to protect that witness?
I can't recall what precisely happened at the time in 2019. I see that the email was forwarded to me as well as to Advocate Mzanyati and Advocate Matska, who was the in the NPS at the time. And I cannot recall what exactly happened at the time. And it will be speculative of me to try to answer that now.
This now, Action SA says the raw sewage that the city of Cape Town is pumping into the ocean via its marine outfall pipes has alarming consequences for the public and the environment. The party says the city is also not treating sewage disposed in the ocean properly.
This pipe at the Greenpoint Sewerage Station is one of several marine outfall pipes across the city that's used to pump sewage into the ocean. But Action SA has raised concerns around health and marine life due to the sewage discharged into the ocean. It says the city of Cape Town does not treat the sewage it pumps into the ocean properly.
They say they're treating the sewage because what they are doing is they're putting it through a 3mm screen. And yet, when people have gone out there, including our own people, into those sewage islands, because they form like floating islands, there is flotsam there that very clearly has gone through a 3mm screen that shouldn't have. There are sanitary pads, tampons, used condoms, those things are all getting through.
The city says although the sewage is not treated with chemicals, it does get screened before being pumped into the ocean.
What is coming out from the marine outfall is highly macerated sewage. That's not wrong. It's not wrong to say that the sewage through the marine outfall is not treated, but it is certainly screened, and there is no way that any solids are making its way through there.
The city says it's also developing long-term plans to upgrade all of its wastewater treatment plants as well as sewage stations. Corbin August, SABC News, Cape Town.
Minister of Electricity and Energy Dr. Khosientso Ramokgopa has named 7 companies as pre-qualified bidders under the first phase of the Independent Transmission Procurement Project. The finalists from the list will help in the construction of 14,000 kilometers of power transmission lines as part of the country's public-private partnership.
About 1.6 million households don't have access to electricity. Now government is looking to work with the private sector for the rapid expansion and modernization of the country's transmission infrastructure. Following a request for qualification process launched earlier this year, the minister says 7 companies have since been pre-qualified.
Of the 17 that responded, we have 7 that are successful. So those are Adani Power, Middle East Limited, of course the lead member there, so there's someone who brings these impeccable credentials to the fore to be examined and scrutinized in this consortium is Adani Power Middle East. And then the second one is RF Cobra Transmission Consortium, the lead member Group to Cobra South Africa.
All the pre-qualified bidders are international companies.
In the country, it's Eskom that has been doing this on their own. You have not built sufficient industry to competently respond or meet this requirement.
It's a 10-year, 440 billion rand program aimed at building 14,000 kilometers of transmission lines, at least by 2034. The emphasis has been on localization, with the first project expected to hit the ground at least by the third quarter of 2026. I'm Katlego Logodi for SABC News in Pretoria.
When we return, after last week's drama following utterances by Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Bruce, not all seems well in the South African camp. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Let's continue, starting further afield, where Ukraine's leader says the country is willing to give up aspirations of joining NATO in exchange for Western security guarantees. The message from Ukraine's president comes as peace talks with U.S. officials will continue on Monday.
Following Sunday's discussions between Ukrainian and US counterparts held in Germany. Steve Witkoff, the US envoy, said lots of progress had been made as the two sides discuss a potential peace plan for ending the war. But conversations will certainly continue on Monday. European leaders will be joining those talks a little later on Monday to discuss the latest on these proposals, including comments from Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky saying that he is now willing to give up aspirations of joining the NATO military alliance in exchange for tangible security guarantees going forward. We've heard from Kaja Kallas, the EU's top diplomat and foreign affairs chief, speaking here in Brussels a little earlier on Monday. She said when it came to these security guarantees that Ukraine needs real troops and real capabilities to defend itself going forward, regardless of whether a peace plan is achieved. She said that the Donbass region, an area that is central to much of this peace plan negotiations, whether it will be used as an economic buffer zone, whether parts of it should be given to Russia or not, those are central. But she says that regardless of how this peace plan materializes, she says that this simply isn't Russia's endgame in of itself. William Denslow for SABC News, Brussels.
The United Nations Children Fund says more than 500,000 people have been displaced by fighting in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo since the beginning of December. UNICEF says it is deeply alarmed by the rapid escalation of hostilities between government forces and M23 rebels in the South Kivu province.
Renewed violence in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo has claimed more than 400 lives and displaced over 500,000 people this month. Congolese authorities say the fighting happened in South Kivu province. The M23 rebels recently launched an offensive against government positions that saw them capture the city of Uvira. The UN Children's Agency says the fighting has forced more than 100,000 children and their families to flee to safer areas. UNICEF has called on all warring parties to protect children and respect their obligations under international humanitarian law. The escalation in fighting has led the international medical charity Doctors Without Borders to close its emergency operations in the city of Baraka in South Kivu province. The city is located 60 kilometers from Uvira and has had an influx of civilians, Congolese forces and their allied militia. Clashes between government forces and the M23 rebels have been reported in the city and neighboring areas. The M23 rebels say they are fighting to protect the community of ethnic Tutsis in eastern DRC. The latest round of fighting is a violation of a ceasefire agreement signed last month by the DRC government and the M23 rebels in Qatar and threatens to derail a recently signed US brokered peace deal. Chris Ochamringa, SABC News, Kinshasa.
And now here's the latest market update as recorded at 7:30 this evening. In sports news this evening, after last week's drama following utterances by Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Bruce, not all seems well in the South African camp. And with just days before their departure for the Africa Cup of Nations tournament in Morocco, it's a cause for concern for captain Ronwen Williams.
Just a day before their farewell warm-up match against Ghana and 2 days before their departure for Morocco, the mood in the camp seemed somber. Williams did not say what the issues were, and questions regarding the coach's utterance last week were not entertained. The utterance aimed at Orlando Pirates defender Mbegezeli Mbokazi and his agent Basia Michaels were regarded racist and sexist.
We had our own small little problems as a team, but I'm glad those things happened, especially inside the team going into the major tournament now. We had a chance to sit together, sort things out, try and fix the issues that we have as a team, and training has has been good.
Bruce was allowed to read a statement to lay the matter to rest.
I agree that my choice of words was not the right one, and I want to apologize for that. But I repeat, I never wanted to make a racist or sexist comment. I'm neither a racist or a sexist.
Bruce agreed with Williams that the circumstances under which the camp took place were not ideal, not because of the atmosphere, but rather due to the absence of key players. And they had to make peace with the fact that they would only be at full strength once the overseas players have joined them in Morocco. Mahudu Malapo, SABC News, Pretoria.
Well, with that, time now for the latest weather update. It's over to the weather desk.
Thank you very much and a very warm welcome to the weather desk. Time for us to look at those conditions over the country now. We're still expecting a rainy night over most of South Africa, just isolated as we move towards the central parts of the country, stretching up north over Gauteng, Limpopo, and also Mpumalanga. It is going to be a cloudy night as we move towards the mother city, stretching into the interior of the Northern Cape. For tomorrow, that's when we see this band of showers and thunder showers coming in. It is scattered over the Northern Cape, stretching into Free State, of the Western Cape, and also into the interior of the Eastern Cape. But we're still expecting isolated showers and thunder showers as we move up north over Gauteng, the northwest, Mpumalanga, and also Limpopo. Cold front is expected over Cape Town, causing a 30% chance of showers and rain. So it is a weak cold front, but it will still drop temperatures significantly over the mother city and surrounding areas for tomorrow. Looking at our warnings for tomorrow, we're expecting a level 2 warning of severe thunderstorm, the same area where we had that 60% chance of showers and thunder showers for tomorrow. Remember, this level 2 warning of severe thunderstorms, it means that the severe thunderstorms can be accompanied by large amount of small hail, heavy downpours which can lead to flooding in places, and also strong damaging winds. And talking about strong damaging winds, that is why we do have those runaway for fire conditions during the day over the Northern Cape, stretching into parts of the Western Cape and Eastern Cape. So please, if you do see any sign of fire, do report to the local authorities. Still expecting a level 1 warning of damaging winds as we move towards the interior of the Northern Cape. Now, temperature-wise, it is going to be a relatively cool night over most of the country. We are talking 10 over Sandland, 16 over Pretoria and Polokwane, Musina dropping down to 18. Cape Town expecting a minimum of 16. Maximum temperatures for tomorrow, cold front coming in over the mother city. Rainy conditions over Cape Town with a high of 25. 30 over Sandland. It is going to be a hot day as we move into Upington with a high of 36. Should be warm over Johannesburg with a maximum of 28. Hot conditions up north over Musina. We're expecting an average of 32 over Musina and also over Palabora for tomorrow. That's all the weather I have for you. Stay tuned.
That concludes our time together this evening. Much gratitude for joining us. God willing, we'll do it again next time. But for now, it's good night. God bless. Pumula.